Hey, it's Justin Pautonnier here on the Mixed Morning Grind. Very special guest this morning from the Edmonton International Airport. It's the VP of Corporate Digital Communication. Traci Bednard is with us. Traci, how are you?
Well, I'm good. Things are looking up. We're seeing more passengers in the terminal. We're seeing some easing of restrictions. So yeah, it's been a good week.
Yeah, no kidding. I guess let's talk about that. The last year, it's got to have been real rough in the airport business.
Yeah, I mean, really for the airport, for airlines, for tourism, there it was just so difficult. Just as an example, on a regular day before COVID, we might see about 10,000 passengers depart. And in the toughest times in COVID, that was down to about 300 travelers. So
Wow.
that was we have certainly never seen such a long and significant decline in travelers.
For sure. Now, there was some big news recently when it came to some lifting of border restrictions. Can you talk to us about the effect that has on air travel?
Yeah, and for the Edmonton region, it was actually two announcements because the first was that our international status will be restored as of August 9th. So we can start to accept US and international flights. So that's a really big deal for our region and for business and for recovery. But the other one that I'm sure we're all interested in is also some easing of restrictions for Canadian citizens, permanent residents, and US citizens to travel internationally and come back into the country without having to quarantine as long as you meet some conditions. So really two big announcements for us here.
So I guess let's talk about that when it comes to restrictions and the new reality when it comes to airline travel. What does it look like for us, for the passengers, to come through?
Yeah, I think most importantly, it really depends on where you're going. So, the airport's just really asking people to do some research. So the government announcement, for example, describes what we need to do as Canadians when we come back into our country. We need to be able to show proof of double vaccination. We need to be able to show proof of a negative COVID test. But of course, depending on where you're traveling to, you'll need to research what that country needs.
Well, and speaking of traveling to destinations, obviously the amount of destinations and the amount of flights was decreased over the past year and a half. Are we starting to see those slowly come back? And what's that going to look like? What kind of timeline are we looking like? Are we going back to, the destinations that we like to see, to Mexico, to Cuba, to Europe, all those great destinations out of EIA? Will they be coming back soon, gradually? How's that going to go?
So working on those new destinations is really the priority right now. I mean, Edmonton has been so lucky over the last 10 years. Our air service growth has been phenomenal. So for example, before COVID, we had, between 53, 55 nonstop destinations out of Edmonton. That's huge. And when COVID hit, that went down in some months to about 13 destinations. Now we're back up now. We're over 20. So we've already started to see airlines add new flights into Canada. And we're already starting to see the airlines planning for those sun destinations that we all like to go to in the fall. Now that
Definitely.
there's now that there's certainty for the airlines in terms of when the border's opening. So, you can start to plan your winter getaway. So the key focus of our business community and also municipal leaders is through an investment of an air service fund and advocacy, talking to the airlines about some of those key business routes in the US and internationally. So it won't be like a flick of a switch, but we've already started to see growth in Canada. We've started to see the airlines talking about where they're going to add sun destinations. And then the next step will be some of those really key business routes for us.
Awesome. And I know that, talking to just a lot of folks, everybody feels like they're in need of a vacation now. And a lot of those vacations obviously are going through EIA. So when it comes to getting back into the airport, I haven't been in a long time. And I'll tell you what, I am an airport nerd. I like being in the airport just as much as I like being on vacation. I'm one of those weird people that like everything about it. And I research routes and I don't know, I'm weird with it. Anyway, I'm just excited to get back there. What is it going to look like when we go back to the airport? Is there substantial changes?
There are some changes, and it's funny because a lot of people are like you, believe it or not. And part of what we want to do as the airport is make the airport the start of your vacation. And a big piece of that is for people really to do some homework. So a few things in terms of cleaning. All of those protocols have already had to be put into place in order to continue to see that domestic travel. So you may not see it, but it is there. For your own use, there's lots of additional hand sanitization stations, for example. If you are traveling internationally, we also have a testing site on site at the airport. So through NUMI Testing, you can book on their website and get your test prior to departing. So those are some examples.
And now, Travel School 101, does that cover a lot of what you were just saying?
It does. It does. So what, again, a lot of people haven't traveled for a year and a half. So what we're trying to do is get out some quick facts for people. I'll just give you one example. Masks, the airport is federally regulated. So masks are still required for checking in, for going through security, for boarding your flight. But, people may not know that. In addition, some of the shops and services have changed at the airport. Some of them have been reduced because of the numbers, but we also have some new shops and services there as well. All of this can be found on our website, and really we want to make it fun for you. So just asking people to head there before they head out.
And you guys do a great job on your social media channels as well, on Facebook. And there's always great little tidbits of information that come out on that too.
Yeah, and we really try to push that out. There's so much information, and listen, by the time you travel, there could have been something that changed. So every day we're putting out new information, or just making sure people understand what's required of them. So yeah, I mean, we have great stuff on our website and all social media channels.
And you actually mentioned when you were talking there about the new additions to Edmonton International Airport, because there has been some things added here and there since we've been gone.
Yeah, so one example would be Canadian Brew House. So when you get to the airport, before you even go through security, there's that new restaurant there, which is great. One of the changes now is people who are not traveling are now permitted into the airport. So listen, the next time you get out, make sure you have somebody drop you off, but actually come in, go to that restaurant, then you can head through security and get anything.
Why not? Exactly. Why not enjoy the airport while you're there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Traci, I want to ask you too, personally, where are you looking forward to going? I mean, I'm sure you've been like the rest of us. Where do you want to go now that things are starting to lift a little bit?
That's funny. My first trip is Grand Prairie because that's where all my family is.
Traci, are you serious?
I'm so serious. But after that, I want to go to Hawaii. WestJet has some good flights that they've already put on into Hawaii. So that's my dream after Grand Prairie. Grand Prairie is my first dream.
That's funny that you mentioned that, Traci, because I just started here at Mix 107 3 months ago after working 10 years in Grand Prairie.
What?
True story.
We can compare notes.
We could. And I'll give you the hot spots in town.
Because I'm not up to speed. I need to know.
Well, it changes. I mean, it changes all the time.
It does. Yeah.
It's a lively spot. Well, Traci, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time today and talking to us about Edmonton International Airport and all the exciting things going on there and the changes, of course, that come along with the new world that we're living in. We're really excited to come visit you at EIA. I know everybody is, and we can't wait for the return of travel here in the Capital Region.
Oh, listen, thanks a lot for some time. And, I really appreciate it. It's fun to be excited.